Board games, board games, we're not gonna shout. Board games and a game about quickly grabbing creatures and counting your beetroots. That's what we're talking about. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and today I'm with Dina, who is the person over there. And we are going to talk about a Kickstarter because we've done one before and we'll do another. And we might not do another after this one because Kickstarter is having some problematic things which I won't get into in this song. A game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your beetroots is what I'm talking about. A game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your beetroots. I'm not gonna shout. Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. It is 10 a.m. UK time, which means that it is time for another Bezzy Beats and Board Game Blether. And on this one, we are discussing 2022 and the next Bezzy Bargain Bag with Dina Ramse, who is over there. And we will. Oh, I just realised I put a little space in next. I do apologise. Oh, well, I can't. I'm not going to edit the YouTube, but I'll edit that bit.
Next level.
And yeah, we'll chat about this. We'll chat about whatever else comes up. But I just thought, let's have a quick chat about this. And like quite often, it might serve a double purpose, hopefully entertaining anyone watching, giving them a peek behind the curtain, but also giving us a chance to catch up and see what we've managed to get up to and being a bit of a meeting for us as well. So yes, Dina, thank you for joining, and how are you?
I am good. I had a sleep in today and I feel fantastic. And I just got my coffee, even though I did break my French press, and now I've broken 3 French press over the past, 14 months. So wow. I actually have to go shopping. So that was like a little bit of a drama.
So you broke 3 of these machines, and at this point, I want to ask, do you really want to buy a 4th?
Well, French press is obviously only like the canister with the filter. So, it's a very small thing, and I don't really drink any other type of coffees unless I'm using a AGAWWCATTITASMN, which is like a concentrated liquid microdose coffee thing. So I kind of rely upon this mode of drinking my coffee. The only other option I have is like a panno, which is like a Finnish way of making coffee, and that just takes so long.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this, with the plunger and everything. And hello, Josie Finch. It is lovely to see you. Hello, everyone else. And do you drink coffee? Do you do this French press thing? I mean, and that's lovely of you to say. Good morning, beautiful people. I'm not feeling it this morning. Just kind of not had enough sleep, to be honest. Been drawing. I am going to finish drawing this. This is it right now. I'm just going to do the final bits of shading. So as usual, I start with the medium, then I go to the bold, and then I add in the bits with the fine markers. So there's going to be a wee bit more shading on the bottom of the beetroots. But yes, how did you break 3 French press machines?
This one was because we ended up invading the office space of a friend of mine here in Hämeenlinna, and we went to her place, and I took my French press with me because she doesn't have a coffee maker in this office, and obviously it needed one, and I needed coffee because we were going to play Wingspan, which takes a bit of time, because once you get going, you kind of end up maybe playing 2 games, and that's your day. So
you want to let yourself have that second game if you enjoy it.
And so, I needed the French press with me, which meant that I put it in my bag and I sort of carefully wrapped it. Turns out that when you carefully wrap something and then go shopping afterwards, throwing all your shopping bags on top, you're going to break the French press.
Oh, and it's glass, right? I mean, it's a
Yes,
glass
it is.
thing. And then what about the previous 2 times? Was it
The previous 2
similar?
times were when I was putting it into the washing machine and it came out and it just sort of broke off the long metal stick. So I am now sat with this is the I got this part, but the plunger is all broken. So I have 2 of these who are just without the plunger. So I might have to go to
Wait a minute. If you've got the pot from the one that went through the washing machine, but then the plunger was bent, wouldn't you still have the plunger from, the time that you put the shopping on it?
Yes, but different sizes. So the one that I brought with me is a tiny sort of 1 cup of coffee one, and this is the big bodum that I have. So.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that there's some life lessons here. Basically, don't put your French press through the dishwasher. And secondly, if you've got something fragile, even if you've wrapped it up, don't put your shopping on. This feels like, a basic thing, but it's always good to have a reminder.
Yeah. And, I haven't done a whole lot of traveling with coffee lately because I do have a special one that is for traveling, which is stainless steel. And obviously, the obvious thing I would have brought that one because I haven't been traveling. That was the furthest thing off my mind. So I lesson learned.
And talking about stainless steel, Josie says, I'm a huge coffee drinker. Thermal line stainless steel French press has revolutionized my coffee. Hot, good coffee that doesn't seem to break.
Exactly.
Also have an AeroPress, which makes the best coffee.
They do look fancy.
I do not know the difference between these, but is that a quick thing to explain? AeroPress, French press? I mean, one's got the metal grill and then you push it down. Which one? That's the French press, or?
So this is a French press. You plunge down. The AeroPress is a much sleeker machine and also quite a lot taller.
Okay. Well, I think if anyone cares enough, then they can always look these things up on Wikipedia. But let's get on with general recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other lights, recent highlights. So, yesterday, Chris did make an E, which was looking good. And let's read. I did a lot of drawing for creatures, which I probably should actually show all that on Twitter in a minute after you've done your thing. But the other thing I want to say is I started dance classes. So I went to Latin, and I want to say one of my achievements is that when I was misgender, the first time, you don't always have the energy to correct a person. I didn't say anything, but then the second time I said, I'm not a sir, because it's a weird one when someone calls you sir or madam in these days. If someone calls me madam, I appreciate it, but it just doesn't feel. Why do you need gendered honorifics at all? I mean, it doesn't feel necessary. It's just it's honestly just such a cheap way of showing respect, and it feels like so often it's done in a meaningless, even sometimes sarcastic way, saying, "Oh, thank you very much, madam." You don't know whether you're being serious or not.
I hate those.
Anyway,
yeah.
But yes, I got to the class. Thank you very much, Josie. And it wasn't my first time there, so I was able to do the footwork fairly easily, but I was focusing on my shoulders. And one thing I realized is that your shoulder goes forward, but your elbow goes back. And this has revolutionized my kind of understanding, because this has always been something that makes it tricky for me, because I'm not sure I walk like most people. When I walk, I just kind of go I'm just enjoying myself if I'm feeling good. But then yeah, just you go like that's how anyway, so that's how you're meant to dance. And like they said, okay, a practice is like put your elbow against your shoulder against the wall. And so that's something that I might do over the weekend potentially. But thank you very much. And that was definitely a recent highlight. So let's talk about you, Dina, and then while I finish this final beetroot.
Okay. Well, I've already mentioned that I got to play Wingspan in the office to a friend of mine here, which obviously is a great highlight. Yesterday, I ended up making like a 17 steps bowl of ramen. That included me starting like marinating eggs like 4 days ago, and
That's amazing.
and we ended up adding radishes to it because I mean the radishes are like has that nice crunch, you know, and they're kind of sweet. And I didn't feel like I had enough carrots to like use it for this because I wanted to make honey glazed carrots for today as like a snack for like my lunch. So I was like trying to reserve my carrots for a later day, and then I was like, hey, actually, you know, radishes are pretty awesome. I do really like them, and they worked fantastically in a bowl of ramen. So I kind of felt like I was cheating because I'm not really supposed to focus on the radishes this week for the whole like
Yeah.
project that we're doing. But you know, it was yeah, a little bit of a head start there.
And I want to give a really recent highlight, which is I just finished my final beetroot. So all the beetroots, because we discussed that one turnip is worth about 2 beetroots, which is
Mm-hmm.
weird because I mean I do actually prefer the taste of beetroots. So I'd kind of say a beetroot is worth more than a turnip in some ways, but beetroots are smaller. So yeah, we decided that we've got to have 2 beetroots. So here's a beetroot, and there's all sorts of beetroots, and they are based on a combination of stock images on the internet, my real beetroots that I bought last night,
Oh,
and
so
my
pretty.
imagination of exactly how the leaves might fall. And it's not meant to be a perfect life drawing of this beetroot, like, oh, that leaf fell exactly in that way, and this is a perfect representation. But it gives
Mm-hmm.
you the idea, hopefully, of, hopefully you can tell what these are.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting. I didn't actually, now I know what the leaves on a beetroot look like, having drawn 16 of them. So, yeah, well, technically 32 because there's 2 in each picture. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, and
They are wonderful.
thank you very
I'm
much.
getting hungry now. Nom nom nom.
That one's a wee bit whiter. Do you think that's okay? Do you think it's okay if one
Yeah, yeah.
is a bit paler? And
Yes, definitely. There's quite a nice variation there. There's also some of them, at least when I was growing them, they had like really long leaves, and then they were like a little bit paler in the coloring. And there
and
are like the rainbow ones too.
I think this is going to be the front cover. But what I've decided is, um, okay, so originally I was going to also have radishes, and I was going to recolor everything into this rainbow manner. But the truth is, after maybe not so much sleep, I didn't manage to get the radishes, and I think it's just going to take too long to color it in that rainbow style. But what I am going to do is have one black and white version and then one red version, and kind of use that as market testing. I'm not sure how many I should print, either 50 of each or 100 of each seems like quite a bit. I mean, 70 would be the perfect number, but I don't get to discount on
Yeah, no.
70. I get to discount on 50 or 100, which is why I'm thinking of those numbers. And I know that like 50, I would definitely sell out. Um, and whereas 100, I might have like some left for aircon, but it would still be. I feel like I might still probably, if I printed 200, I think there's still a chance that I would sell out of those 2 versions before the Kickstarter, which is kind of what I'm wanting, because then
Hmm.
we're like, okay, here's the big version, and then print it. And so, what do you
Yeah,
think? 100?
I think 100. Yeah, based on the sales from the last one and what we're planning on doing here, I think 100 would be a good number.
And then these are the actual creatures. So what I did here is like the first time I just went through the 4 different heads and then the 3 different bodies and then the 3 different legs. And I did make sure for the original version that all the shoes are different, which was quite fun to do. But this time I tried to inject them with a little bit more personality. So, you can sort of see one's like going, oh, what's going on, scratching the head. The other one's an artist and it's got a couple of pencils in 2 hands and a sketchbook. And like I try to imagine each of them in a different situations, like one's posing with, hey, check out my muscles. One's going, hey, how you doing? And then
do you have my favorite there?
I think that's going to be one of the last ones, but this one, which is on the top left here, is based on one that even in the original version it had that slight huffy thing, but I've tried to bring out even more of it. And with the tentacles, I have tried to bring out more of the belly, so I've got more belly folds to keep it a bit more separate from
I'm liking it.
And
it feels like representation.
So, and then there's, I don't know, what do you think of these?
Yeah, these are pretty good. It's like the...
And I think that the one on the top right is one of the ones I was drawing during the stream yesterday, and that's meant to be kind of a slightly, possibly an inebriated one, and it's kind of in a drunk manner going, hey,
it
check
does
out
have that vibe. Yeah, he's quite merry.
And this one's really angry and at something you did, and has
it's like mom when you put your shoes on, like muddy shoes in the hallway.
And this is your favorite. So I was really surprised. I didn't think this particular one would speak to anyone. What do you get from this one?
It's like I don't know. There's like the thing in the hair, which is really sweet, and then there's like the belly rolls, and it feels like it's like sort of like a safe place, and like you're super tired. It does look kind of tired, and it's like all the tentacle arms, which is kind of like a parenting thing.
Well, so you think it's kind of saying, it's kind of giving you a hug, maybe? Is that
but
what you see?
But it's also super exhausted, but it's still trying to be there for you.
Aww. Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
That was what I saw here. And it's like the little tummy and just...
I mean, all of the ones with 2 eyes have a little flowery thing on the on our left.
But some of them are more like a statement, and like, it kind of emphasizes like the roughness, but here it's just like tiny. Yeah. It just makes it feel like a smaller sort of personality who's trying to be, a little bit like, as parenting journey, you kind of shrink a little bit as like yourself, but you're still large and the tentacle arms.
Maybe when I look at this one, I kind of think that maybe it's saying, hey, things aren't perfect, but say it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay, right? It's like that support that we all sort of need.
And so, yeah, that is my recent highlights of doing the drawings. And speaking of, do you want to talk about beetroots? Or brilliant thing, what's a little thing which is brilliant? And Josie, going back to the final one, says, it's almost like apologetic. I don't see it as being sorry because like it's got the wee happy eyes, but
you think those are happy eyes?
I feel like it's got a little bit of, it's not sad, it's I think it's slightly happy.
Huh. Interesting.
But if other people see different things, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
What kind
I
of
think
ideas,
this is like the
Dina?
pandemic parent. There, this is like the parent of the pandemic.
Oops, sorry. And there we go back.
There you go. I think all moms of like the pandemic can feel themselves in this one.
So, if we talk about brilliant things, what's a little thing which is brilliant?
What is a thing that is brilliant?
Beetroots.
Beetroots and representation, maybe.
Oh, so yes, why are beetroots a brilliant thing? I know that, like, you can. I do like a cold beetroot soup. I do like beetroot juice, but those are quite hard to make unless you have the machinery for it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, cutting beetroots and peeling turnips, because you need to get rid of the skin, it's quite a laborious thing. So, I mean, even though I bought some, it's like, yeah, I'm not looking forward to kind of doing all the peeling and then, yeah, what do you even do with this thing? So why are beetroots brilliant?
I love the coloring. The colors are absolutely amazing. There is just something like when you slice through it and you get those rings in it, it's like you kind of feel like it's it's the earthy tones of it, and it's just you feel much more in touch of nature, and it's like just like the rings of a tree. And when you're boiling them and you're sort of adding them to the food, because obviously you're not cooking them with anything else, you're cooking them separately because otherwise everything turns red. But there's something about like the delicacy of that, like just how delicate you have to be when you're cooking them, and just like how much fun.
Is that an issue if everything turns red?
Not necessarily, but sometimes you don't want that. I like to have it separate because then I can use the water afterwards and kind of draw things in the snow.
Ooh.
So add them to an empty ketchup bottle, and then you go outside and you make like drawings, and like I would write on the field outside like "Have a nice day" or "You got this," and like powerful sort of I always do that every winter.
That is such a delightful idea. And I know that beetroots, they do use it as a natural colouring because it is such a strong colour. And I think that if you want a bit of extra colour, if you do want everything to turn red, then just a wee bit of beetroots will do that for you. Even if you've got a dish for like 10 people, just a bunch of beetroots.
Yeah.
And hello, Manuel. It is lovely to see you. Who says, I am down with some nice beats. Yeah, I didn't realize the double meaning until I read it aloud.
Beats.
Beets. Roasted beetroots is wonderful, says Josie. And also
beetroots in chocolate cake. Yes, absolutely yes. Oh my gosh.
I would be very tempted to try this form of baking were it not for the fact that I am trying to get rid of get rid of sugar, I should say specifically. Because talking about another brilliant thing, I know we've already had brilliant things, but last night when I was at Sainsbury's where I went to buy these beetroots, just I had some real life material, though they didn't have all the leaves, and you can see these ones, it's a bit sad. And I wasn't against drawing some sad beetroots, but I wanted it to at least have the leaves on, if you know what I mean. So I had to do some imagining. And you'll forgive it, my imagination isn't perfect. But anyway, I'm a fan of Montezuma's 100% cocoa chocolate. So it's literally just processed cocoa. And now they brought out something that I'd previously said, what would you imagine if it said 100% cocoa with almonds? Because then it's the funny thing, because it's no longer really 100% cocoa, is it? Because it's got this added thing. But they have actually brought out flavored chocolate with 100% cocoa. So they've got 100% cocoa with almonds, and it's actually only 85% cocoa and then 15% almonds. But then it's like literally that, but the 100% cocoa is like the chocolate part of it, and then you've also got an orange and cocoa nibs, so it's like 97% cocoa, 3% cocoa nibs, and a trace amount of orange oil. And honestly, like the cocoa nibs gave it a delightful crunch, and then the orange oil was a subtle flavor because, but yeah, I'm really enjoying that as a treat, even though I'm sure if I ate it like whole bars of it, it would be still have its own health issues, but yeah, it's much healthier avoiding the sugar. And Josie wonders if there's a sugar-free chocolate beetroot cake, as beetroots are naturally sweet.
On addsomeveg.com, there's a blog post with exactly that recipe. So I'm going to try it before I tell Bez to make it.
Okay, so should we get to the main thing and remind people to, as always, feel free to comment and we will, I don't show literally everything that people type, but I appreciate it all, I read it all, and if it's relevant, then I will read it out. And feel free to ask questions if you're, and again, like as long as it's respectful, we'll try to answer it. If it's completely off topic, might get to it at the end, and all that good stuff. I just appreciate you being here from like follow as I try to not be too shy about saying, like, hopefully you are following me in all the places, but if you're not, tell someone else to follow, why not? But yes, shall we talk about this cooking challenge that we decided? So we had,
yes,
and actually we had things. So you said that your thing that you were going to do was to have a meeting with me, which we did. I said that my thing was going to set up February and March. So the game of the month, if people haven't seen, is Couple. So there's a new game out. It is a bit more complicated. It came out on the Wednesday. We've only had like one person give a submission, but like we have had a few people like it. So clearly maybe it's just a bit too challenging for some people, but we'll keep it going for a couple of months and then decide after that if it's going okay or if we need to retire it in favor of something a little bit simpler, possible. I don't know. But yeah, and then the March, Chris has done a bit of artwork. It hasn't really been scheduled because we didn't finish knowing exact. Yeah, there were a couple of details, but we've gotten everything up to 1 week before the end of February, because the final week it's always, let's do a special shout out to the game that's going away. But yeah, I feel like we managed to catch up, and yeah, let's go over what we were talking about during our meeting with the cooking.
Yes. So basically, I'm going to find some recipes. We're going to try some of them based on the different root vegetables, and then I'm going to convince Baz to try some of them. So
I don't need convincing. I basically offered to try them just to make it clear. Like, this was half my idea.
So I'll try like the wackiest ones that are like surprisingly good.
So that's what you're going. Yeah. Okay, interesting. So there is going to be a bit of a challenge for it. I was expecting just like a simple recipe, but so what you're saying is that some of the later ones might be actually a bit challenging. Okay.
Yeah, I think I want to have like at least one challenging option, and then I can like provide you with some simpler ones that are maybe a little bit out there, but they're going to be easy ones to do. So I think I'm going to mix it up a little, because otherwise if it's just easier recipes, I'm not sure how interesting that would be.
Yeah, maybe we could
challenge taste buds as well as cooking skills, don't we?
Maybe we could have I do wonder, like with the cooking show, because I've never done a cooking show, and if it's baking, like if it's a stir fry, that would be a really easy thing. You can show the prep, like I can talk during it, and then the stir fry is quick. But if it's baking, then that's like an hour normally that you need to wait for it to bake. So does that mean that it would have to be a special show where I just kind of sit down and talk for maybe let's do the more time-consuming one on the 6th, if that's possible. And so we're going to do that on Sunday the 13th. We'll do something about turnips, radishes, or beetroots. on the 6th of March, we'll do something, and hopefully I'll have a bit of time and energy, and yeah, we can make it just a real-time cooking show. Like, I don't think, have there ever been any real-time baking shows? Like, this could be a first. Like, just where it's like, yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm waiting for the...
We're gonna do the baking dance, while you're waiting, and it's gonna be like 40 minutes.
Like, I don't know if I can I really...
So in between, obviously, you can make
I wouldn't
something else.
start for like 1 hour, like if it takes 1 hour, but like, yeah, maybe I'd start for a wee bit, and then I'd maybe, talk for a bit. I can chat about. And
so I was thinking, like, if we have something that needs to take time, obviously, Bezzy Bargain Bag, that's a great name.
nice,
and if it takes a little bit of time, we can always like add another recipe in between that you can kind of consume at the same time. So one of the first one that I would offer up as like, this is something that you should try, is a beetroot carrot orange smoothie. And obviously you already love beetroot juice, but we're gonna like make it into a smoothie, and I think that's transition there and giving you a different take on what beetroot juice could really offer you. And it does allow you to sort of cheat because you already have the beetroot juice. So that would be like something to do in between.
So starting with beetroot juice rather than with the raw beetroots.
Yeah. So if cheating is possible, then
I mean, it doesn't feel like really doing those things, but there's Chris, who has just scanned in all the creatures and is just about to scan in all the beetroots. But yeah, that is what we've done. And let's talk about what else you've got planned. And this Kickstarter, we've decided it is going to launch. I've actually put it in my
calendar.
Yeah, so if you go to stuffbybez.com/streams, it's there we go. So if you go to stuffbybez.com/streams, then not only do you get ideas about the streams, but you also get ideas about public appearances, shows that I was considering going to. I'm probably not going to Festival International de Jeux. Yeah, I'm going to actually delete that just now because it's sad, but there's no way that I can go to Cannes. It's just the reality. I might go to Bastion, but yeah, if there's a date, then I'm either considering it. Stuff might possibly change, but yes, there is the Kickstarter just after Aircon from 15th to 24th, and it's going to be 9 days. So the first Bezzy Bargain Bag Kickstarter was 3 days, and it was quite intense, but it was also quite nice that we didn't have to work at it for very long. But then, as always, there is the prelude, and even though it's obviously slowed down, it never picked back up. And I feel like if it had gone 1 more week, I feel like we could have potentially, I don't know, we might have even gone past 1,000 people. But yeah. You know what? I feel like we should do some sort of predictions. How many people do you think are going to back this one?
Okay, so how many did we get for the last one exactly?
857.
857. And we would estimate about a 15 to 20% increase on backer numbers for the next Kickstarter. Yes, because we're also having a slightly
814, by the way. I was completely wrong. 814. I don't know where I got 57 from.
So
why are you estimating a 15% increase? Because I've definitely not seen an increase on Kickstarter to Kickstarter. When I look at my previous thing, actually, I'm just going to, maybe I should.
936 people is what I would estimate.
Hello, Yoda. Hello, it is lovely to see you. So when I look at my previous Kickstarters, whoops, went down too far. That's project stats are not yet done. Okay, so in a bind, 173. In a bind junior, 61. Wibble plus plus, 190. This was a ridiculous thing where I gave people one card, and yeah, I wasn't expecting much. That was.
Ooh, I think Bez got stuck. Well, while Bez is, indisposed, I guess, can I? No, I don't have access to the whole list, so I can't find it for us. But usually when I work on projects that are of this sort of type, we're always estimating a growth in terms of reach and like just getting to people. And we've already established that Bezzy Bargain Bags is a thing, which means that this is definitely like the second release inside this type of branding. So obviously we're going to go with the print and play communities, and we're still, with the quirky arts, and we have a buzz bag.
Yes.
And obviously this time we do have a
Amazing.
little bit better and longer pre-launch period, which means that we'll be able to reach a bit more further. And that's why I'm estimating about like a 15% increase. And obviously our campaign is longer too. I just think it's going to really help.
Yeah, definitely the longer campaign. Given that it was only free, and I do apologize, my power cord is messing up, and that's incredibly problematic. I might need to get a new cable, which is slightly sad, but yeah, it feels like it's an issue around the plug area and not the laptop area, which is at least good, because when I wiggle that, it kind of goes back on. But then if I touch it, then it sometimes goes off. It's one of those fragile wire things, if you know what I mean. But yeah, my previous best Kickstarter had been the second one for Wibble Plus Plus, which was 280, because that one, I think it did well because I had the art already done, and yeah, it was a bit after it. It was a brand new thing. It was a really nice thing, and I think having a little thing from Rado, even though that's not the best quote that I could have used from them, there's probably other things they said which were slightly nicer. Yeah. Whereas when you've got Kitty Cataclysm, the final art looks great. But if I'd shown the final art instead of this kind of prototype art, that probably would have done a lot better. Yeah, BG DevCon, that's thing. Categorical, let's not talk about that. Today, I will happily talk. I've talked about that many times. That's still in progress. Cat stickers, that actually went surprisingly well. And a game about wee whimsical creatures and try to identify them after someone makes noises. That just went so much bigger than I was expecting in terms of money. Honestly, I expected it to do really well in terms of backers. I expected there to be loads of people internationally who were like, £1? Why not? Yeah, I'm going to back this. And so I am going to predict 1,100. I'm going to put it out there because I think that if I manage to, finish off all the things and say, hey, all the people for a game about wee whimsical creatures and try to identify them after someone makes noises, got like all this stuff, check it out. Then people are like, whoa, all that stuff for £1. And I think hopefully it will have more time to penetrate. And I think, as you say, the one extra week, because there was at least someone who shouted out about it on the Friday, like 2 hours before the project was finishing, which felt like quite a shame. Whereas, yeah. And are we committed to finishing on Thursday night rather than Friday night? Is that just a better day?
It tends to sort of slow down quite a lot on Friday backing. So just closing on Thursday tends to be a better day because people are busy on Friday. And while it is pandemic, it is also like one of the days that people stream the most. So we will kind of drown out in the noise of everything else if we're doing anything special on that day.
So it's kind of like, traditionally it's a date night. People, even if you're having your date online, you might still do that, and people are starting to see people again.
Yeah.
But yeah. Josie says, I'll be backing this one. That's lovely to hear. Not sure if I'm 15% all by myself, though. Yeah, thankfully, one person is not 15%, I would say, sadly, but honestly, I'm thankful that we're a bit beyond one person being 15%, which would suggest we were at, like, what, 6 backers? Anyway, but yes.
That means that you're estimating a 27% increase. 1,000 and what did you say?
I can't remember. I'm going to say 1,100.
Okay, so I think 29, 30% increase.
Okay, so we'll see who was closer. Like, obviously, if I were to be super competitive, I would have just said, like, one higher than Dina. I wanted to go on the record that I did not do that. I'm trying to say what I think is a realistic thing. And I do have a lot of faith because I do think it is going to be a cheap thing. It's going to be, £1 again. We've decided it's always going to be £1 for the print and play. So if you back it for £1, you'll get it, and that's it. Boom. It's a no-brainer. Whereas if you want the actual game, then if you're in the UK, it will be a similar price. So again, hopefully we'll be able to get it for £8 or £13 for 2 or £18 for free. It's basically £5 plus £3 postage. Or if you're in the US, it will be like £5 postage or something like that. I don't know. We'll work it out closer to the time. But it will be similar to what the Bezzy Bargain Bag postage rates are, because it will be sent out by Vanguard from Poland, and then Vanguard will probably be printing a few hundred extra, shipping those in a big box to me. And yeah, part of me is like, what if it goes too big? And I know that, planning for success is kind of a weird thing, but I do need to make sure that there is enough profit in each of these, so that even if, and because we're doing different versions, people will be able to buy a black and white version with beetroots, possibly a black and white and red version with beetroots. I'm not sure. And yeah, a rainbow colored one with, like, does that actually look rainbow? I feel like maybe the green isn't as prominent as it could be. Maybe I need to have more space for the green on its own. What do you think?
It does kind of blend in, at least on screen. I'm not sure like how different it is on like reality. Like the
in
bottom
reality,
sort of flick more like aqua.
I like it in reality, but I think the colors are a bit, muted. It's possible.
Yes.
But yes, I've decided that I'm not going to do the rainbow colors this week, so I might actually buy some different green pens and also backups of the pens, because just for reference, while I was doing just the black and white stuff, I ran out of a medium, I ran out of a bold. But when I say I ran out, I just mean I used the entire pen, and then I got another one because I've still got, boxes of pen, because I buy them in boxes, because I know that I'm going to use them, because they are my favorite pens. They're just so good. Yoda says that I should use the word affordable versus cheap.
Bargain, affordable, yes.
Yeah. I guess I must have used the word cheap when I was speaking. So yeah, do you think that this is something that we should be really mindful of, Dina?
Well, I think for the audience that you're using in spoken, which is obviously stream audience, I think it's going to be fine. But for written communications, we should definitely be mindful of this.
Or maybe we could just say it's a brilliant bargain, £1. This could be the best value thingy bag this year. Which I know that's kind of saying a lot, but for £1, I think, honestly,
you can't really go wrong. Yeah.
I think how many games actually give you full access to all the files for £1? And also this one, you're going to have 4 different print and play files.
It's true. It's true.
If anyone's unsure why, the reason is because, are you okay there? But I hope you didn't break anything.
No, I just dropped my book.
So okay, but one is good for 2 or 3 people. So if you want to play with 4, 5, or 6, you need 2 copies. If you want to play with even more, you need to play with 3 copies. Or if you just want a longer game, you can play with multiple copies. And I've played with 2 copies with just 2 people, and I actually really enjoy that, because then you get to the end and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so stressful and it's so tiring, and it becomes like a marathon rather than a sprint, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's still enjoyable, but it feels different. But yes, in future, I should say this is a brilliant bargain when I'm not, it's super cheap. And affordable isn't even the right word. I think that bargain is definitely, because it's not just about being affordable, it's about the sheer amounts of stuff. Josie, feel free to start talking turnip recipes, and feel free to suggest anything to Dina. And Dina, you've got your Twitter, which I think is at the end of this scrolling thing. And I think
if you're making anything with turnips in it, tag me in it, and I'll try them and pick ones for
or if you're on the Discord, which I know you are, then you can put, well, Josie is, but if anyone else wants to join the Discord, stuffbybez.com/Discord, and then it will redirect you to the Discord, and then in the food bit, or frankly in sharing cool stuff, I'm not too fussed about where people do stuff, but yes, just put your recipes, tell Dina, hey, try this, and then Dina's going to do all the hard work of trying all the things, and then maybe I'll post pictures on Twitter or whatever, and then
I in my early influencer career, like a long time ago, I did start out as a foodie blogger, so it'll be like I get to do this again.
What Josie Finch said here. So I looked up the fabric bags that I was talking about. So the cost for me, if I produce 50 or 500, is going to be £4.80 per bag, which is actually quite a bit more than I was expecting. And at that point, it could still be like, okay, this is a super deluxe thing, and if I say the basic thing is £5 and then the deluxe thing is £12, then I'm still making £2.20 extra profit. But then I've got also, if someone wants it in the USA or something like that, it becomes an issue. And so because then I've got to add on the shipping price from me to Vanguard, and that's an additional cost, because if I only have to ship a few of them, that's going to cost quite a bit. And so I'm not sure it's worth me adding the bags for this Kickstarter, which is slightly sad.
Yeah.
What do you think, given that production cost of £4.80?
I mean, I would get it, because now I'm getting more and more of these small sort of bargain card games, and they are, in Ziploc bags, which means that it's a little bit more finicky for me to take them with me, because they kind of slide around my bag, and it's just not nice. And I mean, I'm
you want your drawstring bag.
I want it. I really do. And if you're not making it, I'm gonna make my own. And I'll just ask for permissions to use the artwork, and then have it printed on like Spoonflower or something, and then make a bag that way.
And hello, Alex. It is lovely to see you. But
We do like our lurkers. Hello, Aqua.
yeah, I will double check with them the price. I will investigate the price of shipping to Poland, or maybe even ask Chris to do that, to check the price for shipping to Poland. But we need, if it is affordable, and I guess what's if the deluxe edition had all of them in? So if you buy the one with the bag, then you get all four. So it's got space for all four of the things in, and then all four of the things. But then it's not. Is it still a bargain? Because that's like 4 decks, £20.
Yeah.
And then what would I charge for that plus the bag? I'd need to charge at least £5 more. So let's say £25, £27, maybe 25, just because that's a nice round number.
It's still a bargain.
You think it's still a bargain?
Yeah.
And then when you're playing, you could just play with your favorite one, or you could play with all four of them mixed together for extra thing.
Yeah, and also like Finch is saying, it's storage and portability.
And I want people to see it and be like, yeah, this is something that I'm playing and I'm excited to play. Whereas if you can see it from the side, and I'm sure like Chris could mash together all the different creatures. Like on the back of the first edition, there's all the creatures and all the turnips in a nice little arrangement. And if there was like all the creatures and all the veg from all the different editions, that would be potentially quite nice. But yes, let's talk about other plans. So we're going to do a few cooking streams. I'm going to investigate logistics of doing these bags. What are we going to do in regards to interviews, in regards to promotion? Because that's something that we really have to do. What's on your mind, Dina? This is what you're bringing to the table.
So, as we mentioned last time, that now that you probably watched over the stream when you weren't available last time, I don't know if you managed to do that. But as I mentioned, I've gotten myself an intern and an assistant that are helping me. And one of the things that they have been working on this last month was to just gather a list of like all the people who are doing podcasts, all the people who are doing like media coverage for board games. And that's a lot. And obviously, like I've been contacting them like a little bit here and there based on like how they fit each project. But now I have like a master list. So I'm going to fit them in for like what works for this project. It's like I always do. But now there's like everyone is in one sort of really spreadsheet, which I'm absolutely loving. So I'm going to send out a bunch of emails and contacting the people who could be interested in this. And we'll see how that works. So this is going to be the second project where I'm using this list just to see if it makes any difference.
Awesome. So is that going to be something that, if you're emailing them all, will you CC me in so I kind of am kept in the loop? But that I guess that would mean that I don't have to, reply or add anything, which would be really nice. Or do you think it's better to just be, hey, I'm working for Bez? Because in a way, like being part of. Oh, and also, then.
So usually when I do this, I just send out emails, and if I get any replies that requires you to do anything, I will CC you in on like what I'm replying to that and the conversation that continues. And obviously, they would have to contact you for booking anyway. So.
I mean, it feels almost worthwhile as long as action isn't required from me. It's all upside for me to say, oh, cool, that's like a thing. I mean, I guess I could imagine with someone that is using you just once, then you've got the fear of, oh, what if they now know all my contacts, and that's maybe not something. But I think we've got this ongoing relationship, so if maybe it's you can just CC me into all of them.
Obviously, sometimes I'm getting my assistants to do that, so I'll find something that
or
works.
get them to CC me in.
Yes.
I mean, it's an easy email address, stuffbybez@gmail.com. If anyone wants to email me for some reason, maybe you want to share a nice photo or or tell me nice things about your games, or maybe you want to, if you really want to send me mean messages, then also send me mean messages there.
Yeah, and if anyone is playing the game but doesn't want to share it on socials, just email us. Because there are those people who won't post on socials that they're playing games, but because of privacy and all that. But you can always email Baz, and then Baz gets to see it.
Yeah, like on Twitter when I'm tagged, I absolutely love that, and I always get to see it. Or if people share it on, if it's public on Facebook, or if it's on a group, and then you tag me, obviously that's really nice. And I've gotten a couple of private messages from someone saying, "Hey, maybe don't share this image." And sometimes it's because there's little children involved. Sometimes it's because there's close friends who don't really want to have their face in public. But I think that generally it's nice to, it's nice to be reminded that people are actually enjoying these things, because it goes out, and then the closest I get to knowing about it is usually from people's comments. And you would not believe how much time I spend just analyzing the comments and checking out all the games played stats and thinking, yay, someone's actually playing it again, and it shows that they keep enjoying it. But yes, and a quick hello, anything for Selenas, and if you're generally well, I hope you're generally well, and feel free to chime in with any comments. So yes, we're going to hopefully get onto some podcasts. We've got a few reviews that I've already sorted out. So we could potentially, is there time for more? Do we want to push for? Sending stuff transatlantically is obviously a big expense, but sending something within the UK is not too much. And I will have 2 versions in a couple of weeks, fingers crossed, which is exciting. What else are we going to do gearing up to the thing? Because for a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after some makes noises, we had this or that, this kind of which ones of these are going to get knocked out. Because that was a vital thing, that so many of the creatures had to be gotten rid of to make space for the new creatures, to make it an actual new product. So at this point, what can we do for this? How can we, tweet about it and Instagram about it and Facebook about it without annoying people, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I will definitely be doing is, as I'm making the recipes, I'll find pair them up with creatures based on the taste and like the flavors and then amount of crunch, and I'll find a creature that kind of speaks to the recipe to make it easier to sort of symbolize, so people can pick their favorites, and I think that's going to be fun. It also allows us to kind of dive into some of the Facebook groups that we were using last time as well, for just because it is engaging. Do you think that this recipe looks like something that would fit this creature? Or what creature would you pick? And that is an interesting conversation to have, because people do associate, as we saw earlier on the stream, people's associations to the creatures can be a little bit different. And also when you're adding then the extra level of a taste, it kind of requires people to put themselves a little bit deeper into the game, which I think was one of the things that really worked with the previous one, is that we were playing on so much of the senses to people. wasn't just like the visual style, but also like the completeness of like what's the game going to be, and there had to be a bit of an investment. And obviously that's something in marketing that always works. The more you get people to invest into it, like with feelings and everything, that really helps on conversion. But obviously that's not just why we're doing it, because we also like to talk about these things. And
Yeah, and obviously I don't think if it were a case of I'm actually trying to find the two little drawings that so the original colorings in that I shared on board on a couple of different Facebook groups was, hey, which one of these two do you prefer? And then after those, I ended up making this one, which is kind of similar, but also different. But I do think it probably needs a bit more green, because when you look at this one, although on screen, actually, the green doesn't look really green on screen. I don't know how it is for your screen.
It's kind of yellowy tone.
I mean, the green here.
Yeah, in the middle of the chest. It is. It's like, yeah, quite on the yellow scale of things.
Okay, so yeah, that's
around the
what
armpit.
It's
like, very dark.
Lime, like
which I'm assuming it should be.
Like, yeah, I feel like
yeah.
Maybe I want to do. I'll play around with different pens, but also I was kind of thinking potentially like there could be a hey, what should this creature be holding? Like, for some of the creatures might have a little bag or something. Submit a bag and get your bag in the Bezzy Bargain Bag, which could be fun. Like, because there's how many 12 creatures that have 4 arms, and that's a lot of arms. That's 48 arms, and at least 10 of them could be holding something.
It's like, what would you want it to hold? And that is a thing. And obviously this time I'm gonna dive in a little bit deeper and see just how many people we can get engaged in terms of like there being con presence prior to the Kickstarter, and we can see if we can try to book specific people into picking up a copy during the conventions, just to be a little bit targeted when it comes to like the influencers that we're using, and seeing just how far we can make that go. With us then doing 100 copies, that means that we have quite a lot of potential.
Yes, and I am hopefully getting them in 2 weeks' time, in time for FB Friendly Board Gamer Con. And of course, I will give a couple of copies to the host of that convention, and who is themselves a reviewer. And then, yes, if you organize anything at Aircon, it will be launching 2 days after the end of Aircon, which is a really short turnaround. But if you're doing a live stream, then if you do a live stream 1 week after Aircon, which seems kind of reasonable, then, that's something that person could do. Josie had this idea, maybe you could do a mass stream with lots of different people, live streaming, playing your games as marketing, maybe a world record attempt at mass playing board games via live stream, which I really love this idea. But unfortunately, I have to explain, this game is all about quickly grabbing the creatures, so you need to physically grab them off a table, whereas the first one about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises, well, you can transmit those noises through technology, through the internet, and you can transmit that guess of which one you think it is, like type in a number and press enter. And actually, like the following one about compliments could possibly work, because you could draw your creature and then I don't think it would be that hard to generate an infinite player mode, if you know what I mean.
I mean, if there was to be a live streaming of multiple people playing, then obviously it would be like an overhead view of each people having individual sessions at their own home, which could work. But also, I think it could be really chaotic and might not be as interesting to look at. we're just seeing a bunch of tables with hands grabbing things.
Without the interaction from one person to the next, I think it would basically end up as a bunch of discrete things. Okay, yes. Josie says, does it have... Okay, so this wasn't an idea for this game. It was an idea for a future game. Like for the compliments game, that could absolutely work. Or for version 2 of a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises. Like that could totally work, like as an idea for when we get round to that. No, I like the idea, Josie. Like, not for this one, but yeah, generally I do like it. And as Dina says, like just an overhead camera. I think as one person stream for this, it could look really fun. And you see, I don't think it would it be... Oh, there is a tournament mode that maybe people could play where the first time you grab it and then the second time you grab it with your other hand once you win, and then the third time you need to keep your hand above your head, and so you're kind of having to do that and look up if you want. So there's a memory aspect. And then if you win again, then you can only grab 4 vegetables. You can't grab 5 anymore. So 1 less. And then if you win, you've won the entire tournament. So this is kind of a tournament style that I've played a few times. It seems to work fine. It's a bit of fun. And it turns it from one game that takes about 2 minutes to like a series of games that take exponentially longer depending on how many people are playing. And I think if you had a camera where you could see an overhead camera but also everyone's hands like going like that could be quite funny. Oh, stretching time again. But yes, so as far as we're concerned, before we finish up, because I know that we are a little bit over and you do have to pick up your child, I believe. Possibly.
No child this week.
Hey, fine. That's good. So overrunning is not a big issue. I guess otherwise he would have warned me and told me off. Cool. So, yes, can we talk about what we'll try to do in time for the next couple of weeks, sort of thing?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so what... Yeah, I like the what should these creatures hold idea, and I think that if I ask on Board Game Trading and Chat UK, I think that Chris might say, yeah, that's fine, and then I could say, okay, have a bunch of pictures of your bag or an object you have or anything that's you own the copyright for. So not something that, if it's like a character of Groot, for example, I'm probably not going to draw them holding a Groot doll. That feels inappropriate. Whereas if it's a Prada bag, I think that's probably okay because it's going to be slightly stylized. It's not going to be exactly that, but it's going to be your bag or your thing. And maybe it should just be, what are they holding? Maybe it doesn't have to be holding bags, maybe or briefcases, maybe just random objects.
Maybe other things, random objects like a book, a board game box, a meeple,
like
a top hat.
Oh, they're holding a flower like a bouquet. Maybe they're like just ask people, hey, what should they be done, and I will choose a whole bunch of these, and then that could be a fun thing. And then so if I check in with Chris and make that post, and I'll do that in the next wee bit, then once those start coming in, and right now today my first objective is to help Chris kind of get these all sent off to Rob with 2 Bs, and then Rob Butler, and then after that color some of them in with red, and that's going to be the other version, which is kind of red shading. But yes, that is what I am going to do. What are you up to regarding this project?
I am going to slice up my turnip because I have a big bag. I have like 2 kilos of turnip right now in my kitchen. So I have a couple of recipes that I wanted to try. So that's like my first thing. And I'm going to tweet about it.
Awesome.
I'm going to do some stuff on Twitter.
And hopefully we'll get like the whole media thing with like the reviewers and the interviewers, like if there's anything like that lined up.
And obviously start writing press release and get that one approved. That's probably going to be a next week task because there's a lot of things happening this week. And start sharing and seeing if we can reach out to podcasters as soon as possible, and also the influencers who are going to the various conventions and share the lineup. Just so people know
the only convention that like that's in the interim is the Aircon one, but hopefully there'll be a couple going there. But Josie has a lovely idea. Maybe the creature could be holding a card from the game that has a picture of them holding a card from the game. That has a picture of, and like that reminds me of the Inner Bind cards. I don't have a copy of that anywhere to hand. I would actually have to open a new deck, which I'm not going. Anyway, I don't even have like. Do you?
Behind the chair there. Yeah.
Because you know that there's. Yeah, sorry, distracted for just a moment. With the discard touching forehead, for example, with the one with the birds, I don't know if you can grab it super quickly, but there's the kind of Inception aspects of that where you see the card on touching its neck, and then within that card, it's another picture of the creature touching its neck. And I think the third layer, it's just really roughly drawn, so you can't really tell what's going on.
This one?
No, the other one. Yes, that one.
I have a Bezzy box.
Hey.
Let's see.
So, making Dina a wee bit bigger.
Oh, so good.
The Inception cards.
Touching them. So the forehead, yeah?
Or any of the cards that show a card on them. Like if you show any of them. Should be like almost half of them, I think, had that aspect to it.
Well, here's a card in the mouth. Like, can't quite
that doesn't show very much of it. Yeah, most of what's on the card is hidden. Here. Yeah. So like.
There you go.
Yeah, let me zoom in. Yeah, so if you look closely, I can actually see it now. So there's a person, and then the card's on the forearm, and on the card you can see a little person, and then the card's on the forearm, and then on that third card, then it's just like really quick scribbles. But I think it works quite well. Yeah, I'm proud of that. So it could be potentially really cool. Something like that.
Yeah.
And now
I'm out of focus. If I go here.
Now we need to be really close for the rest of the stream. But no. Yes, I will put that onto Board Game Trading and Chats UK in the next few days. And if you try and if you submit your idea, that would be awesome. And yeah, I'll do something like, I'll base it on which comments get the most likes, and also which ones I personally would want to draw. So if someone's like, they should be holding a string of 1,000 chainmail links, then I probably won't want to draw that, because drawing things in quantity is very easy to describe, but hard and time-consuming and boring to draw. Anyway, it feels like we have a solid plan. We're going to stay in touch, of course, between the 2 weeks. We're going to be communicating on Facebook and whatnot. And we've got each other's email and everything. Yeah. And so, is there anything else that we should say before we start wrapping up?
over to you. What are you up to? We
You can share, but only if
Only
you want
if you want
to. So is there anything that you want to share? I promise that we care. Something you're excited about, something that you're not so fussed about, something super serious or something fun and frivolous. Let us know. I am going to be colouring in all these things, so soon this will have a lot of red on it. I'm thinking about 33% red, like maybe at least 25% red, because using the red sparingly as a kind of shadow, but making it distinct from the just black version. So there'll be one version that's just black, one version that's black and red, where the red is kind of the shading.
Yeah.
And I'll see how that goes. I'm quite excited because, beetroots, very red, but I'm also using the red again as a shadow. So see how that turns out. What are you up to, Dina?
Well, obviously we just finished a month. That means that it is basically accounting and invoicing day. My accountant let me know like on Friday last week that it's basically like a deadline for filling out all the tax stuff by the 28th of February, so like that about the end of, so obviously they have a bunch of things that they need me to send them, so that's what I'm gonna tackle, which isn't the most fun thing that I do, but after that, I get the peace of mind that at least the bookkeeping and everything from 2021 is going to be sorted and I don't have to do it. So we had a long meeting of me like, I don't want to do this, like please just help me, and they were like, we got you. And I was like, oh, it's so nice to be on this side. We're like just handing over things that you really don't want to do. So I'm super excited about just getting that out of my head and not having it take mind space.
One of these things that it's not fun to do, but just having done it feels so good.
It's gonna feel amazing. So I got myself like a rosé that I'm gonna celebrate with once it's done. So it's chilling in the fridge. And yeah, that's
good.
My plan.
Well, it's been a lovely stream. Thank you for being with us, Dina. Thank you, everyone else. And the final question I would like to ask is, beetroots, turnips, radishes. Do you have a favourite? I mean, I think radishes I quite like because you can eat them raw, and so they're kind of easier to prepare. But I also do like beetroots because they're the most red of the three.
Mm-hmm.
So, even if I wasn't like all about the red, just having that color in your thing, yeah. And I found out last night that the beetroots leaves, there's loads of recipes for the leaves online. But then if you buy them in the supermarkets, you get these kind of really terrible leaves that you probably don't want to eat.
No, you probably don't want to serve that in a salad. I mean, beetroot leaves in salad together with like a little bit of spinach and some
oh my gosh, you could actually have beetroots raw, like if it's got a bit of pickle on it. And because when we're talking about raw salads, which I think is what Manuel is saying, beetroots, salad feels incomplete without them. And I like salads quite a bit. Those are really strong words. For me, I could just have cucumber and something else, and for me that would feel like a salad. Like cucumber, tomato, boom, salad. Cucumber, celery, boom,
for me,
salad.
it's the radish. Like I do sometimes feel like the salads are incomplete without the radishes, and I absolutely love radish in salads. So
wow.
yes.
And Josie says radish and beetroot. So basically what you're saying is you're just not a fan of turnips. That's totally fair.
But turnips raw as well, just for crunching on.
You can eat turnips raw.
Yes, you can. I mean, I was raised on a farm and we would eat all of these things straight out of the soil. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And yes, I guess it does really depend on what your upbringing was, who was bringing these things. But yes, if you want to chime in with what your favorite out of these three vegetables is, or if you have a suggestion for a fourth thing, I'm probably not going to use it, but because there's already 4 decks, so that's like already kind of I'm not just going to keep on adding things for the sake of it, because 12 players is as much as I expect anyone to ever play with. Honestly, 9 felt like enough, but it was just anyway. No, but recap and wrap up before we finish up. So we talked about the forthcoming Kickstarter. We talked about how beetroots are brilliant, representation is brilliant, happy to have drawn stuff, enjoying playing Wingspan, enjoying getting things together, liking the idea of bags, predictions, like 15% increase, whatever that was.
35% increase.
Is that what? I just remember 1,100.
Yep, 35% increase from the previous Kickstarter.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. I mean, honestly, I felt like the noises was just like much fresher. It was going to get people's attention, and that might still be the case. But I've just noticed so many people who've played them both say, "Oh, actually, I prefer quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your turnips." And so that gives me a lot of faith that, yeah, sure, we might not get people saying, "Oh, wow, this is something that I've never seen before," because there are quite a few games about grabbing things quickly, let's be honest. But the turnip mechanism adds a little bit to it. Avoiding matches adds a little. It's still a fresh fusion. It's still a worthwhile contribution to gaming landscape. It's not an entirely new genre like making noises was, but hopefully with the people saying, "Oh yes, for £1 you get quite a bit," and also with going from 3 days to 9 days, I think will be a big difference. But we will see. And that's the end. If you want to check me out, I am Stuff by Bez everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you want to check out stuff, I will be there. And feel free to message me all the things. And Dina, we're going to get your links into the comments. And where would you like to be?
I'm pretty much Dina Said So on all platforms, though on Twitter there is Dina Said So 1. Otherwise, there's my website, Marketing with Dina, where you could potentially hire Dina Said So Studios to help you with your next crowdfunding journey, like I am doing for Bez.
And Manuel says, "I like how you describe your vegetable-themed games as fresh. But potentially they might be ripe, even."
Is ripe for crowdfunding.
So yes, if you want to check out future streams, stuffbybez.com/streams, feel free to, of course, as always, share, spread the word. I want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dina. Thank you, Josie and Manuel and Yoda and everyone for coming along. And again, if you're watching after the fact, let me know what your favorite vegetables are. Is there one of these color schemes you're looking forward to? But have a good day, have a wonderful day, and for now, there's only one thing left to say.
Bye, bye, bye,
bye, bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. It's time to go. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye, everyone. Lots of love.